I've had a lot of people give me a lot of advice over the last few years, and a lot of it has been garbage, and there's been a couple of little nuggets that I have received in between all that garbage, and I want to share the very best piece of advice in relation to business specifically that I've gotten. And this is something that I heard, and it's kind of been on my mind ever since. This has been over a year ago, and it's just one of those golden nuggets that if you live by this, what I'm about to tell you, and it wasn't something I came up with, it's something that somebody else told me, but if you lived your life by this nugget I'm about to drop, it would change the game for you. And so I want you to listen, and I want you to listen very closely, okay? And if you know, I'm not, again, as always, I'm not asking you to believe me, to trust me. I'm asking you to just give it some thought, to put it in your brain and give it some thought. Maybe turn off the music at the gym for an hour and just think about what I'm about to say. So I had this coaching session with this guy, and I paid for this coaching session. It wasn't a freebie. And it was a gentleman who had made a significant amount of money, a lot of millions of dollars the previous year. And basically, he had this option where, ooh, it's bright. He had this option where you could buy an hour of his time, and it was a hefty amount of money, but I was like, for the amount of money that this person made last year, this is a steal. This is a steal, friends. And again, I've shared this on one of my other videos, which is the shortcut to success is just go and have people that have already done it to show you how to do it. So I'm like, dude, for that price, I know it's steep, but that guy has been to places I want to be. So anyway, I buy one of these coaching sessions with him. And what's cool about these is, like, most of the time they say that you're gonna get an hour and they give you more time, which I ended up getting 2 hours. And at the hour mark, I was cordial and nice, and I was like, hey, I know we're at the hour mark, like, I'm good shutting this down. And he's like, no, let's keep rolling. So I got 2 hours for the price of one, and I was cool. But the number one thing that he said to me is, listen very carefully, if the thing that you are involved in, or the thing that you are thinking about putting your time into, does not have an asset attached, don't get involved. If the thing that you are thinking about getting involved in, if the opportunity you are looking at, if the job that somebody's trying to offer you does not include an asset at the end of it, then run. Then do not get involved. And so essentially, and he wasn't directing it towards me, he was telling me about himself. He's like, anything that I do, if I do not have an asset attached, I'm not doing it. And I started thinking about that, and I'm like, man, that is such a good piece of advice, because how many times do we have these opportunities, even in business, even in our own business, where it's like, hey, here's this gig, and it's going to pay me a decent chunk of change, but at the end of it, there is no asset. There is nothing to show for it. How many times have you guys done that? I know I've done that. I've had SEO gigs, and I've had all these other gigs where, stretching out the old shoulder before the gym. I've had all these different opportunities where it's good money, right? But at the end of it, I got nothing to show. I got absolutely nothing to show, because I'm trading my time for dollars. And imagine all the times, all the hours that I've spent, all the weeks and months that I've spent doing work for somebody else where I've traded my time for their dollars. What if every one of those I had said, nope, the only way I'm doing it is if at the end of it, there's an asset that I own. And every ounce of effort I put into something, every minute I put into something was into me creating assets or selling my assets. Imagine where I would be today. Because I know since, let's see, I was 22 years old when I started doing door-to-door sales. I traded my time for dollars, and I made really good money, but I had nothing to show for it. By the way, wow, what a sunny morning. I had nothing. I still don't. I got nothing to show. Now, luckily, I was able to buy a piece of real estate with some of that money, but I didn't live that smart, and there was no assets attached. I was simply trading my time for dollars, and I had nothing to show for it. And so what if I had taken all those years, I did that for 4 years, and I'd spent every one of those seconds building an asset? Where would I be at today? Okay? And so why am I bringing this up? Because, guys, there's a business model out there. And I know it's like, oh, here we go again, pitching us. No, I'm not pitching you. You don't have to get involved. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. But there's a business model. It's called Rank and Rent Digital Real Estate. And you put your time in to creating assets that pay you every single month. Guys, sometimes I hear about this business model like in a new light, like I'm describing right now, and I'm like, why didn't I discover this 10 years ago? And why aren't you getting involved right now? But I'm going to live my life. And ever since I got this piece of advice, this is a year ago, I have simply made the move of and we know what's funny about this advice is that the person that was giving it was actually trading their time for dollars as they were giving the advice, which I thought was ironic. However, the advice was amazing, and I understood where he was coming from, and I've tried to live by that. So literally since last year, it's been a year to this same month, I have not taken on a job. I have not taken on a gig. I have not said, yes, I'm going to do this for this amount of money. That has been a time for dollars opportunity. Not one single time. Every single thing that I've done, it has had an asset attached. Okay? And there's a business model called Rank and Rent Lead Generation, where every second of your time you are building assets. Because unless you build assets that are going to pay you every single month, you can't build, you can't grow, you can't scale, you can't make money while you sleep. And you know what's crazy is I've taken this advice for the last year, and my life has changed like you can't believe. I have got, in the last year, but specifically in the last 8 months, I've just doubled down since January 1. I have doubled, tripled, quadrupled down, and I've had people ask me, hey, do you do one-on-one consulting? And they've offered me some very attractive amounts of money. And I have literally said, no, I do not offer that. I no longer trade my time for dollars. If you choose the same thing today, you're like, hey, no longer am I going to trade the time that I have, which is the one thing that's limited. That's the one finite resource. I'm no longer going to trade that for dollars. I'm going to use my time to create assets that are going to continue to pay me, but that's it. I'm not going to trade my time for dollars. If you made that one decision today and going forward, that's the only, like, I guess you could use the word framework. It's the only lens that you looked at every opportunity, at every gig, at every job, at every business model you take a look at. Your life in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years would be radically different, because I know what mine's done in the last 12 months is changed. Everything's changed. Everything has changed for me by doing this one single thing. And I sometimes hesitate to share some of these kind of things. I don't want to come across like, oh, this is Mr. Motivation, because I just do not like that stuff. And I'm not trying to be that way. I just want to share with you, this is somebody who's made a lot of money. This is somebody who knows how to make a lot of money. And I was like, that is such a good piece of advice. And so I just want to share it with you without being like Mr. Motivation, because that's not what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to just share everything I can about Rank and Rent Digital Real Estate. And sometimes that includes, okay, I got this piece of advice, and that just reaffirmed why this business model is so freaking attractive. Guys, I'll catch you later.